Welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us a gorgeous and glorious Friday morning in downtown Charlottesville. Real Talk with Keith Smith features a star that has been in real estate since 1987, 38 years in this game we call real estate. Not a market he has not seen, not a trend or dynamic he has not experienced. He has nicknamed himself a recovering developer. We have monikered him the distinguished gentleman. By now, he is a household name. His name, Keith Smith. Judah Wickower behind the camera, also a household name. There's only one person I know in 100-degree weather that can pull off denim pants, an undershirt, and a button-down J.Crew long-sleeve shirt. And that's Judah Wickower, ladies and gentlemen.
The question is it flannel?
Is the undershirt short sleeve or long sleeve is the real question.
Short sleeve.
Short sleeve. So short sleeve undershirt, denim pants, and a button-down long sleeve shirt.
Feel like it's 106 today,
Yep.
folks. Be careful out there. Be safe. Drink a lot of water. Stay in a cool place. And, you know, if you have some folks that have special needs or of a certain age, keep a close eye on them today.
Take care of your pets, your furry animals.
And your furry animals, too.
Do not walk your dogs on asphalt, please, folks. You are burning the pads of their feet. Please be mindful of your dog's feet. Judah Wickower, Keith Smith's on camera, my friend. Start the program with what's in Keith's brain today.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Nice show. See you later. If you're dependent upon what's between these 6 inches between these two sets of ears of mine, then we're in a bit of trouble here. I'll tell you, I had something awesome happen to me. I did it on a post yesterday. I had a client actually come to my house and hand me a pretty awesome card, and gave me some kudos. And you know, with all this noise out there and this, that, and the other thing, you know, it just was wonderful to have somebody to take their most precious asset, which is their time, Gesundheit, chase me down, tell me I'm a good human.
You are a good human.
And keep up the good work and what we're doing. And I, you know, we've been doing this for nearly 40 years, and it is a business, and this is what we do. But it's great to help people achieve their goals, particularly when it comes to housing. And, you know, just to get that was awesome. So I'm going to kind of challenge everybody out there who's watching and listening, either today or sometime in the future, go out and be kind to somebody. And, you know, the payback is 100-fold. I just did it getting my cup of coffee and told the barista that she was an awesome human and have a great day. And who knows, pass a little bit positive vibes along. But that's what I wanted to kick the show off. And if you got something, a story in your life, or somebody did something awesome like this, unprovoked or out of the kindness of their heart, share it. But it was it was interesting. I needed that yesterday more than anything. It's been a little stressful few weeks for us. Lots of it is personal stuff. And to have somebody show up and hand you a card and say, hey, you're an awesome human, means a lot. Means a lot to me.
I love that.
I'm going to get teared up here for a second.
I love that, Keith Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of comments coming in the feed already. We'll get to those comments in a matter of moments. We have a story in the Daily Progress today about the development code.
I knew that was coming up
ladies
today.
and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And the development code in Charlottesville, and the new zoning ordinance just being in zoning purgatory. The Daily Progress, folks, has got a story by Hall Spencer, a great journalist, friend of the program, know him quite well. Nearly $400 million in development at risk right now. Nearly $400 million of development at risk right now. And he highlights, ladies and gentlemen, the trials of this zoning experience and how it's stuck in purgatory. Hall's in the Daily Progress article, and I encourage you to read it. Charlottesville's planning purgatory, meetings canceled, millions on the line. He interviews a number of people for this article, and in this article, folks, nearly $400 million, Keith Smith, at risk with this missed filing deadline.
So I kind of figured this was going to come up today. I've been reading it in depth and listening to your commentary, which I think has been spot on over the last few weeks. I know firsthand, because as the chair of the Land Trust, we've got two projects, affordable housing projects that are sitting in purgatory, for lack of a better term. Here's the great thing as a Catholic, you know how you can get out of purgatory, right?
What, say I'm sorry?
No, you have to have people pray for you. You have to have people support you. Back to the being a mensch rule of the day and being kind. That's how you get out of purgatory. It's and in my world, if I get stuck in purgatory, I'll consider that a win. I'm pretty sure I'm not going up. Pretty sure I'm not going down, but I might be stuck in purgatory.
I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I'm trying to make up some.
$400 million is a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but I'll tell you. So for those who are not familiar or the uninitiated, let's recap a little bit of where we are.
I think by now the community knows what's going on.
Well, what I'm finding out from the reach of the show and what we're doing is we've got people from other states and other jurisdictions reaching out. So just to kind of recap it a little bit, we have a rezoning that was adopted, the city, and I think it was 2 years ago, roughly.
December 2023, it was approved, and in February of 2024, it was put into effect. So from February of 2024 until about a few weeks ago, there was this new zoning ordinance that was so radical that was based on a foundation of looser zoning, could create more supply, which could stabilize prices. Unfortunately, a group of homeowners chose to sue the city and tie the new zoning ordinance up in court. And the city was unrepresented by a city attorney, an official Charlottesville attorney.
Did you see that they're keeping that person?
Yeah, Gentry Locke is staying on board.
Yeah.
They hired a third-party law firm, Gentry Locke. It was announced today that Gentry Locke is staying as the firm to represent the city here. But this third-party law firm, Gentry Locke, missed a filing deadline, and the judge who lives in the city, whose wife is a housing advocate and pushes the new zoning ordinance in her evangelism, threw out the suit and basically said this new zoning ordinance cannot move forward.
So it's interesting, and I'm going to take it, as we usually do, I'm going to take a different approach. I actually think this is going to turn out to be a win across the board for the city for what it wants. And that's a pretty audacious thing to say.
I think that's extremely audacious.
But I actually think it's going to happen. Look,
Neil Williamson, what do you think of the comment he just said right there?
So,
go ahead. Explain why you think that's the case.
So let's keep on building this a little bit, right? So, we've got this timeout that we really don't know if it's a timeout because the city hasn't received a written order from the judge yet. So this was just a bench issuing. And where this purgatory happens even more is when they meaning the city, adopted the now timed out zoning ordinance, it replaced the old zoning ordinance. So there is no zoning ordinance right now on it. So what I think is happening right now behind the scenes is one of several things, and I think they're all happening concurrently. One, as you know, they meaning the city council has advanced the rezoning back to the planning commission, which has 100 days to act. So they probably have 90 some odd days to act on it. So I think what they're doing is they're going back and saying, okay, these are the list of items that the plaintiffs had, fix them, go through the process, and we'll talk about that process here in a minute. And concurrently, they're petitioning the judge to say, hey, we're sorry, please reinstate the ordinance, which I don't think is likely going to happen. And then the third thing they're doing concurrently, from what I understand and what I'm hearing, is they're negotiating with the plaintiffs to get that resolved. So I think what's going to happen, there's going to be a fast track on the process. As everybody knows, if you go through the planning commission, there's public hearings and yada, yada, yada. All of a sudden, they're going to fast track it. By the way, if me and you were trying to do a rezoning, we wouldn't get fast tracked, right? But this is now going to get fast-tracked. And it's going to go through probably in about 90 days. They're going to go through this thing, and then it's going to land on, they're going to clean up the problems, and then it's going to land on the city council's desk somewhere around 3 months from now. Now they have a decision to make, just to adopt it. So where does 3 months put us in the election cycle? Not quite to November, right?
The election cycle's over.
Yeah, I understand that, but it doesn't.
The election cycles doesn't impact this at all. Jen
Agreed.
Fleischer's on council, Brian Pinkston is out, Juan Diego Wade's on council.
But the people that are going to vote on it are the current board members or current city council members. So, but to your point, one is semi.
It's Fleischer and Pinkston out.
Correct. So,
And if anything, Fleischer's probably more housing than Pinkston.
I was just about to say. So one that is somewhat lukewarm on housing is definitively going to get replaced with the housing advocate. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to fast track that. And I will tell you, the moment that happens, it'll get sued again. There'll be a lawsuit, right? Once they go through this process, somebody, maybe the original plaintiffs are going to redo. So this is going to continually be in some sort of lawsuit. But where I think the path forward is going to be clear is in 90 days they're going to or some portion of 90 days, either 90 or 120 or 180 days, they're going to readopt this new rezoning, this rezoning part 2, right? And then they're going to move on. But here's the reality of it. We're going to end up in the same place we were a year ago or before this was dropped. If we don't fix this red tape and turn it to green tape, and if we don't go ahead and figure out the approval process, if you're pro-housing and you're a pro-housing advocate, if you want to have this ordinance work, they've got to figure that second side out. And where I think then I'll shut up. I actually think where this bleep up is actually going to benefit the city.
No way.
Well, we might have to bet a bourbon on it because I actually think the city council members got what the problem was, not the zoning. That's an easy fix, right? The plaintiff says A, B, C, D, F, and G, and they fix it, right? Then they adopt it. So now that lawsuit, for all intents and purposes, goes away. But then they'll come back and sue for something else. But if they don't fix how quickly, so the 2 projects the land trust has, that we can submit them and get approval in 60 to 90 days, and they're back to this 2-year process, we're going to be in the same place we are right now. But if they can figure out how to actually fix the back end and work it through the system, it's going to take 1 to 2 years for some new lawsuit, because that's what's going to happen, to get to a judge, to get to a jury. And if there's hundreds and hundreds of units in the ground, it makes it that much harder to unwind. So there you go.
The city is currently asking Judge Worrell to reconsider the misfiling deadline and say, look, we made a mistake, give us some grace, allow us to continue moving forward with this new zoning ordinance. The mistake with doing that is this was going to linger until June of next year.
If they actually showed up.
June of next year.
If they showed up and met the deadline.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
June of next year.
Well,
what the city should be doing.
It would go longer than that because somebody would appeal it and it just would keep on going.
What the city should be doing is going to the plaintiffs and negotiating with the plaintiffs.
I think that's what's happening.
I know that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And saying to the plaintiffs, what is it that you need to drop this lawsuit? And they should go to the table with a negotiating mindset and say, we don't want this lawsuit to be active anymore. It's costing you a lot of money suing us. Everyone is losing here. What do you need from us in this zoning code, which is a living, breathing document that we can change for you to drop this lawsuit?
So
that's what the city should do. I don't think they're doing that. The city is not negotiating in good faith from what I'm being told.
Yeah, well, I'm not in the room, and I only, much like you, have conversations with people that are outside the room. As you said, I'm trying to be respectful for the people that gave me information. But there are 4 things happening, right, simultaneously. Are they negotiating? Are they good negotiators? Are they negotiating well? You and I negotiate for a living. I think we can look at this maybe from a bit of a jaded perspective, but
how about this?
Let me get this out. I've found of the 37 years of working with local governments, negotiations is not their skill, their strong set.
How about this putting it in perspective? How does this not put it in perspective? The third-party law firm Gentry Locke that missed the filing deadline and got us all in this position, taxpayers. The city has now confirmed that they will not fire Gentry Locke, but instead will keep Gentry Locke in the game representing the city in this lawsuit. Explain that to me.
They double down on it, right? I think in the private sector, we would have fired them immediately and move on. I think in the government sector, it's a little bit harder to do that. I think they're afraid of doing the reset button, right? Bring up a new attorney, so forth and so on. Look, I think in one hand, this lawyer is never going to miss anything for the rest of his life. So it's kind of maybe a good thing. I can tell you in our world, they would be shown the door and we'd be dealing with somebody else pretty quickly. I'm not so sure there isn't some staff there possibly, I'm mincing words here. Staff did not keep an eye on their consultant.
Oh, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
This is as much on staff as it is on Gentry Locke.
Yeah, 100%.
Staff has got to manage the contractor they hire.
So I think what's happening concurrently, and it's
a bad look for everybody there.
Yeah, I think what's happening concurrently, if it's happening well or as efficiently as it should be, is something else. I think they're trying to negotiate with the plaintiffs. They're trying to amend the new...
They are negotiating with the plaintiffs.
And
the plaintiffs are indicating that what the city is doing is not negotiating in good faith.
So if they're negotiating well or not, it's a different story. So I think if that's the case, I think that's a mistake. But what they should be doing is negotiating with the plaintiffs in good faith, fix the issues in the code, in the zoning ordinance, go through the process, re-adopt it, right, and then move on. But the point I'm constantly making, and nobody seems to want to listen to me, is this zoning end of it is not the important part of it. It is the rule book, but you can have the most perfect zoning ordinance that makes everybody happy. All of a sudden, we wave one of these magic wands we used to have here before, and magically everybody in the whole world is happy with the zoning ordinance. If you can't fix the approval process, it ain't going anywhere anyway. So all of this stuff we're talking about, all this stuff they're going through, all this negotiations that they're doing, they're also not trying to concurrently fix the back end. And I just don't know if they get it, that they're surely not listening to us or me, because if they could end up with the most perfect zoning ordinance. If they can't cut it down from 2 years, right, to go ahead and get it done in 30 to 60 to 90 days like it should be, that's how it should be acting, then, all this stuff we're talking about, all these notes I've got written down, all these lawsuits, all this money you're going to spend is all for nothing. You might as well just go back to the old zoning ordinance and move on.
Two very good articles in the Daily Progress this morning. One by Hall Spencer, ladies and gentlemen, and the other by newly minted reporter David Velasquez. The Hall Spencer article is the one I would suggest you read first. Fascinating article. Hall's interviews multiple players, including John Matthews. John Matthews, ladies and gentlemen, is the head of the Mitchell Matthews Architects and Planners. John Matthews contends that Judge Worrell's ruling has caused not just uncertainty for zoning in Charlottesville, but he estimates nearly $400 million in development projects in the city of Charlottesville could be delayed. Furthermore,
Well,
it's not just the $400 million that could be delayed in development projects. It's the supply chain of the development, the subcontractors, the engineers, the attorneys, the inspectors, the surveyors, the painters, the inspectors, the drywall guys, the plumbers, the HVAC guys, the electricians. This delay of zoning, I would bet you, is flirting with $1 billion or more of economic impact in the city. $1 billion or more. We know $390 million according to this Matthews guy who's in the game. And that does not include the supply chain of workers tied to that $390 million in projects.
100%. So this is
a catastrophe.
This is the topic we have all the time with folks like my dear friend Chris Fairchild, which, by the way, is an awesome human. A story about him is when I was losing everything I had, he stayed by me and was a dear friend. So, what I say isn't because I don't love him. I love him dearly on it. But what you just outlined is why housing is so important, right? All people need to do is go back as far as the economy goes and the direct, indirect, and induced revenue it brings to jurisdictions or brings to regions. All one's got to do is go back to look to the time of great unpleasantness and take a look how bad the economy was doing when housing took a you-know-what on it. But look, I'm just going to keep on saying this until I'm blue in the face.
Red tape into green tape.
All of this is stuff we got to go through. All of this stuff is, maybe this time they'll engage a little bit more. They meaning the city.
I don't think so. They're ramrodding this through. Neil Williamson, president of the Free Enterprise Forum, watching the program. He says this: when the new zoning ordinance is ramrodded through, there will be yet another lawsuit.
Well,
deja vu all over again. Yogi Berra, Neil Williamson says.
I can guarantee you there will be another lawsuit. But here's the tactic on. I'm not in the room. I don't know if they're thinking about these tactics. But back to the red and green tape thing. If this gets ramrodded through, if this gets through, I don't think I'm going to bet my mustache on this one. There's way too many moving parts on it. But I think before the end of this year, again, I'm not betting my mustache. I just want to be clear about that, Neil. I think by the end...
You have bet your mustache and lost that bet, didn't you?
I did not. I won
you
it.
won the bet.
I won it. Remember, I won it that they would adopt this by the December.
Yeah. And then did Neil give you a bottle of bourbon?
I think he did or something like that. I think, that was so many bottles of bourbon ago, I can't remember. I'm sure he did. I'm not going to bet that mustache. But I'll tell you, I think they'll get this ramrodded, fast-tracked through by the end of this year. As a recovering developer.
But why would they do that?
Because
why would they take the exact same? Help me understand
this.
They're not Are you on a 3-shot?
They're not going to take the exact same thing. They're going to fix whatever they perceive is the issues that the plaintiffs are in there. That's what they're going to do. They're going to fix the traffic. They're going to fix whatever. Because
a VDOT traffic study is going to take a very long time to do.
Well, the question becomes is what's going to happen is because I know a little bit about this. What VDOT's going to do is go, well, hold it. We don't have right away. We don't have control over the city of Charlottesville. Thank you very much, and hand it right back. VDOT does not get a say in.
John Blair, you buy that? Neil Williamson, you buy that?
I know they don't. They do not get a buy. They don't get a comment in the city infrastructure. Now, if the city road connects to a county road, which is a VDOT road, that's one other thing. But the city of Charlottesville owns its own roads. A simple way to figure that one out is who plows it.
Yeah, city plows it. The city has city buses, city roads, all city stuff.
There you go.
Neil Williamson, how could the city have more engagement than the 3 years of CVille plans together? How could they possibly have more engagement than that?
Look,
Neil paid a bottle of Jefferson Reserve. I have my doubts that any is left in Keefe's bar.
Nope.
No, you didn't leave that here. The Jefferson Reserve wasn't left here.
No, I brought that one home.
Yeah. Is there? I bet you there's some left in that, isn't there?
No, but I can tell you I've replaced it with a couple versions of it.
Okay.
I've got a fresh bottle at home. Yeah.
Neil, what's your take in 5 or 6 sentences of what's going to happen here? I wish Neil was here today.
So, I can't speak for Neil, but my my take on it is they're going to, look, we've got a...
He's got a good take, too. You should hear Judah Wickhauer. Go ahead. What's your take on it?
No. I'll listen to Judah first.
No.
Because I'm only going to...
He's going to have a 3-shot ready to go, Judah.
I'm only going to...
Offer your take on this.
I'm only going to repeat what I've already said, but I'm going to say it in a different way. They have in their hand what the plaintiffs want. It's in black and white.
Yeah, there's a lawsuit.
It's in black and white.
Yeah.
It's in black and white. So then you go on the other hand and go, okay, I'm going to take this and put it into the zoning ordinance, and I'm going to fix it. So I've now just fixed it, right? And I'm going to go through the process. And I've said it before, I appreciate what they're doing, how they're fast tracking it. But I'll tell you, as somebody, even with my nonprofit land trust hat on, to go through rezoning isn't going to happen in 3 months. If you picked up the phone right now and said, Keith, help me get something rezoned through the city of Charlottesville, I'll tell you, hang on to your shorts. It'll take you 2 years to get there. They'll get it through it, right? Same thing with Albemarle County, same thing with everything, with some of the other jurisdictions. So to go ahead, because at the end of the day, that's what this is. This is a rezoning. They are doing a mass rezoning for the whole city of Charlottesville, period, end of story. So they have to go through this process, right? They have to advertise, they have to have public hearings, they have to have a vote on it, and this process, if you fast track it, can happen about 3 months, right? To go through, to check all the criteria that you need with your 2 weeks of advertisements and blah, 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 blah. They can do that. They can fast track this. They can make that decision.
Okay, I think I'm going to take this prop bet here. You're saying that...
No, I'm not going to bet anything because I don't...
let's bet a bottle of bourbon here. You're saying, this is what Keith Smith is saying, that by the November election...
No, I don't think by November election.
Then what's the date for the prop bet?
I'm trying not to do one, is what I'm trying to do.
By December 31?
What I'm trying to tell you, before I was comfortable with betting my mustache that, hey, by the end of whatever the 2024 it was that year, I can't remember, whatever December that they approved.
December 2023?
Yeah, 2023.
It went into effect February 2024?
That it'll get approved before the end of December 23. I do not think the path that they're going through right now will get approved by the December of 2025. Because I think what will happen is there'll be a lot of public outrage, right? There'll be people like Neil. And by the way, so people know this, I'm actually going to get in front of a lectern on this. And I very rarely get in front of a podium to talk to an elected body. But I'm actually going to do that on this thing. If I can't do it as the chairperson of the land trust, I'm sure as hell going to do it as a private citizen. Because I have some serious concerns about how they're fast-tracking this on it. I think it's unfair to everybody else that has to go through this process like you've got a 10-ton weight wrapped around your neck. But what I'm really going to say is, great guys, get this approved. If you don't fix this back end, all this work you're doing right now is for nothing. But let's hear Judah's.
Judah's got a take. Neil Williamson's got his take. Bill McChesney's got his take. Gary Palmer, welcome to the broadcast.
But it will end up. It will. Whatever they do, that I'll bet you without a doubt when you won't take it. It will end up in a lawsuit, flat out.
Oh yeah, who would take that bet?
But what happens with that? Then it just sits and churns.
If you want to make a bet that by December 31, 2025, and set a deadline like that, I'll make a bet with you.
That the city will adopt a new zoning ordinance or readopt an amended version of what's out there.
That's what you're going to bet?
No. I'm asking you.
Okay. I don't think you know what you want to bet over there. Judah Wickhauer.
I
don't think you know what you want to bet. I know what I want to bet.
I felt good about the other one. This one, I don't have the same feeling.
Judah Wickhauer has been following this. Curious of your take, then I'm going to get to Neil Williamson's on this.
I think this is what you mean that I was talking about, is the fact that it's been discussed on this show that nothing has really come from the new zoning ordinance. So it hasn't really produced much in the way of new construction that wouldn't have been started anyways. And so I can't believe that after a year and a half there's been no introspection. Like, hey, we pushed this out. It hasn't accomplished much. How can we make it better? They just want to push out the exact same thing.
So, Judah, the reason nothing has got done is not the zoning ordinance.
Okay.
It's the red tape.
It's also tied to the zoning ordinance. The affordable housing criteria for development tied to rentals is obscenely ridiculous.
100%. I get all of that, but that's not the reason it slowed down, right? It doesn't. It's a rule book, right? It doesn't matter. The developers are smart people. They'll figure out a way to work within the rule book. Okay, I can pencil out, well, this project worked. Doesn't matter the details. The problem is the back end. The reason it took a year and a half and the reason why nothing got approved was not because of the zoning ordinance. Yes, it needs improvement. Yes, it needs tweaking. Yes, it's going to get ramrodded through. It's the back end. And that's the problem. And I'll tell you, if they don't fix that.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
I do not agree. It's not what I'm hearing from the developers. I do not agree. The affordable housing requirements in the city of Charlottesville, when you are doing a project that is 9 units or more,
I got it.
10% of the units in that development must be affordable for at a 60% area median income for 99 years.
So let me ask you a question.
That 99 years to 60% AMI is longer than the shelf life of the development.
100%.
That is obscene.
As far as I'm concerned, the affordable housing portion of it needs to be tweaked, to use Lloyd Snook's words. But is the lawsuit talk anything about affordable housing?
No, the lawsuit's about the VDOT traffic study.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So
that lawsuit's not helping it either.
I understand that. So do you think that they're only going to fix what's on the lawsuit, or they're going to try to fix everything?
I think what the city is trying to do, and viewers and listeners, I think it's a pretty informed take. The city is trying to take the new zoning ordinance that was already approved, and they're going to the judge right now on their knees, begging for forgiveness, saying, give us a second chance on this default judgment. And if the judge says, yes, I will give you a second chance on the default judgment, offering the city grace, then the city's going to take the document that caused anger and fire with these plaintiffs and push it forward again. And if it gets pushed forward again, nothing is going to materialize from this until the end of next year. The end of next year. What the city should do instead, and then I'm going to go to Neil's comments, I'm going to go to all the comments coming in. What the city should do instead is go to the plaintiffs and say, help.
Yeah, we're not disagreeing.
We need to drop this lawsuit. We will fix this document.
I'm not disagreeing.
Or the city is too punch drunk with the city.
Well, I can't say that for a fact, but I can tell you that's what they should be doing. If they're not doing it in earnest and going, okay, what do we need to do to make this better? I'll tell you, if they're focusing on these one particular issues, it actually should be a simple fix, right, on it. And I'm waiting to hear Neil's response on the VDOT.
He disagrees with you.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
On the VDOT thing?
Well, he says Charlottesville will enact the new zoning. You should listen to this.
Well, did he answer the question about the VDOT?
Well, he's got a lot of comments here.
Okay.
Charlottesville will enact the new zoning ordinance without changes. There will be a lawsuit. The clouds of uncertainty of development will continue for 45 months or greater.
Yeah.
Because of this uncertainty, you will see a drop in investment in the city.
Yeah.
He adds, in a May City Council meeting, Neighborhood Development Services reported 60 pre-application meetings, 20 applications filed, and 3 approved under the new zoning ordinance. 3.
That is my red tape into green tape. That's an exact example of that.
But it's not red tape into green tape if only 60 pre-application meetings have happened.
Well,
That's not even red tape. They haven't even gotten to the red tape.
I understand that, but there were 60 and only produced 3. There should be 60, right? And the reason why, I'll let you finish your train of thought.
60, Keith, in nearly 60 and 15 months is pathetic.
Well, I've often said if anybody thought that this new zoning was going to produce thousands and thousands of units,
they're not even getting to the red tape.
Yeah.
It's
well,
not,
no, they are. That's not true. I mean, 60 projects are, and I can tell you there are. To your point, there are projects, because I know I'm in charge of 4 of them with the land trust, that we're not even submitting. And we didn't submit because the red tape is too complicated because we couldn't make the numbers work. For instance, what the real issue if the city wants to do pro-housing, I'm just going to say this, the city council members got to reconcile, do they want housing as a priority or do they want to keep all the trees as a priority? They can't have both. Right? They can try to mix them up a little bit, but they can't have both. And that is right now the struggle at the city council level, right? There's certain numbers of them that are very environment focused, which is a good thing, right? And the other ones are housing focused. Maybe this new board, which is more housing focused, might go ahead and fast track things. But when you have to, when you're above 3 units and you've got to go through a full erosion and control plan, project's off the table. I don't give a heck.
The site plan.
I don't give a heck if it's 60% AMI, 80%. It don't matter. It is off the table, and that is why you don't have only have 60. That is why you don't have 120. That's why you don't have 1,000. Because the people that are really smart and I know these folks are looking at this and going, well, that's BS. I'll never be able to get the numbers work, and they walk away. And they go to Neil's wonderful county and start producing units there. Or they go to, Savannah is a different story, but they go to the jurisdictions that go ahead and do it. I think, and I don't think we're disagreeing too much. I think if the city, my opinion, if the city really wants to tackle housing affordability, they actually have a great opportunity right now to do it. They really got a great opportunity to do it. But they got to show up, they got to be honest, they got to be good humans, they got to be a mensch and go, you know what, guys, we effed up, we're sorry. What can we do to make this better? To your point, sit down with the plaintiffs. What can we do? Negotiate, be honest, be open, be transparent. And it's going, look, this is what we want to do. This is an opportunity. I've got 4 opportunities. They can fix the flaws right now. They have an opportunity to raise their hand and do a mea culpa and saying, you're right, we made a few mistakes, here's an opportunity to fix them. It's an opportunity to build, which is not happening, an opportunity to build a broader public trust. Right, this is an opportunity to build trust. Is it happening or not? Sure, doesn't sound like it, right? Strengthen the code and the implementation of it, right? To go ahead and make it a little bit stronger and take care of the implementation on the backside. And this will give them an opportunity to double down on housing affordability. Otherwise, you and I are going to have this conversation 12 months from now, 24 months from now, 36 months from now, 48 months from now. And until I am in the ground, and nothing's ever going to happen.
If you're just tuning into the program, what Charlottesville is choosing to do right now is they have approached the judge, Judge Worrell, and asked him to reconsider the default judgment on a missed filing deadline.
On a chance of 1 to 10, is that ever going to happen?
I don't see how that could possibly happen.
He'd have to admit he made a mistake.
Especially with the conflict of interest of the judge living in the city
He
and
dodged,
his wife being a housing
the
advocate.
man dodged a bullet.
Okay, 100%.
Dodged a bullet.
So they're
I don't
asking
need to
the
make a
judge
decision.
to reconsider a default judgment.
Not
They
gonna
want
happen.
to push the exact new zoning ordinance forward.
Is it exact, or are they looking to change it?
Exact. And they are keeping the law firm that missed the filing deadline and having them continue to do the work on their behalf.
That I don't get.
So, same zoning ordinance, with the same attorneys that missed the filing deadline, learning nothing from the last 15 months.
And they're not.
When only 60 pre-applications, when only 60 pre-application meetings have happened,
And
20 applications filed, and only 3 projects approved. This is
that stat. The ratio on that stat is ridiculous. But so
this is incompetence.
so let me put a little context to that 20 to 3 number, right? So prior to this, do we have zoning? Do we don't have zoning world we live in right now, right? Prior to that, it was a by right approval. It's by right approval. You open up the zoning ordinance, you open up the site plan, and if you check all the boxes, it's a reasonable expectation to get it approved in a speedy, effective manner. The fact that there was 20 and it only produced 3 is telling me that the other 7.
This isn't even red tape.
No, but that is red tape. That's the essence of the red tape. My point is if I show up to Greene County with a by right subdivision and I meet all the criteria and I submit the plat for approval and I check all the boxes, it should not take a year and a half to get it approved. It should take, you know how this works, right? You submit the application, they review it for completeness, they have a certain amount of days to do it, right? It happens more often than not. The applicant mixes something and then the staff goes back, hey, you're missing this. Clock gets reset for another 45 days, right? So these 45 days start getting reset and reset. And generally that goes through 2 or 3 times, right? Because, stuff is missed, right? VDOT comes back with comments, which is not necessarily the case in the city of Charlottesville. Let's say Greene County of Fluvanna. They come back with comments. You go ahead and change the comments. The Water Service Authority comes back with comments. You change that. Utilities come back, and you start doing this back and forth. And it's generally anywhere between 3 to 6 revisions. So that's 3 to 6 45 days. Somebody who's smarter than me can do the math, right? So it's anywhere from 90 to 120 days, from 120 days to 160 days. It should not take more than 6 months to get it through. If it's a by right application and you're submitting the application verbatim of what they are saying it must be. For 20 to only spit out 3, we have to assume 20 got submitted by people that know what the hell they're doing.
That are paying people.
That know what they're doing.
That are out of pocket hard costs.
100%. We're not, but that
I would bet you a good chunk of the 60 pre-application meetings have hard costs
100%,
associated
because
with
you
them.
can't get to a pre-application meeting without doing it. 100%. So whatever was the number, 90. What was the number that the 900 million? What was the?
So the Daily Progress in today's newspaper, Hall Spencer, quotes a man in the game. And his last name is Matthews. He heads the Mitchell Matthews Architects and Planning firm. He estimates that there's $390 million in development projects in the city negatively impacted by this. Then he further says that $390 million doesn't even put into perspective or consider the supply chain of workers that are working on the $390 million project.
So he's just
we're like at $1 billion here.
He's
folks.
just talking about the direct, not the indirect or the induced.
The supply chain.
Yeah, the real estate agents that sell
the
it.
inspector, the painter, the electrician, the plumber,
Sure.
the window guy,
Yeah, sure.
flooring guy.
100%. Look,
it should not be underestimated. The level of catastrophe, incompetence
I do not have
that is involved. That is here.
I do not have faith in the city system to make a bet that this will get resolved by the end of this year.
I thought that's what you were alluding to.
No, I was saying I was not willing to bet my mustache on that.
Okay.
Right.
What is the bet you're willing to do?
I'll do a bottle of bourbon.
No, but what's the bet that you're willing to do?
Yeah, just for the fun of the show.
No,
to see
I
how
don't
it
wanna
goes.
take your
Because
bottle
I
of
don't.
bourbon
I don't. Well, we need a.
I don't want to take your bottle here.
Yeah.
I don't wanna
I'm going to buy you one
I don't-
anyway.
I don't want to
so-
take your bottle.
Yeah. I think they're going to try to ram it through. I think they're going to try to expedite it. I would hope that they listen, not to me, but to other folks in the thing.
Who they've listened to is Livable Charlottesville,
What I would
the
hope,
activists, and that's where we're at now because of it.
well, you know the difference between an advocate and an activist, right?
100%.
Yeah, and I'm not an activist, I'm an advocate. I try to work within the system and encourage and move forward. I would not consider myself an activist by any stretch of the imagination. But they have an opportunity to, if they really want to make housing affordability an issue and move the needle forward, they have to do these 4 things I'm talking about. Fix the flaws, fix what's broken, build a broader public trust, ramming it through quickly is not going to do that. Strengthen the code and the implementation, so that's on the front end and the back end, and double down on, in my opinion, on housing affordability. And back on that, give us a housing affordability map that works, right? Don't give me 3 lots. You know, I talk about Portland and Seattle all the time. They have certain requirements. And by the way, the city of Charlottesville has a state, I can't remember the actual ordinance, actually can do whatever it wants as long as they wrap it around affordable housing. There's a few jurisdictions, the city of Charlottesville, Albemarle, Loudoun, and some other ones. It's actually written into the code that they, as long as they stay within housing affordability, they can pretty much do whatever they want and say whatever they want. That said, you know, I think, yeah, if they do this right and engage the public, negotiate with the other side, create a document that makes sense, and change some of the implementation side of it, the back end of it, actually could be a good thing. I think it could be a good thing. Are we going to get there or not? It's a different story.
If I were the plaintiffs, and Sarah Hill Buchensky's watching the program.
They're going to sue again.
Angela Morbley watching the program. We have, I don't know how many real estate firms watching the show right now. More than I can count. If I were the plaintiffs, I would go to the table right now with the city and truly understand the leverage that you have here. You have a city that is at your mercy. And when you negotiate with the city, you ask for a lot. And if the city is unwilling to do it, you say, okay, we're going to continue to tie you up in this lawsuit, because our hunch or our instinct says that the judge is not going to reconsider this default
But they won't
judgment.
tie him up with a lawsuit, though. That won't happen. You realize...
You want to make a bet that if the city comes back with the new zoning ordinance that the plaintiffs aren't going to sue them again?
Oh, 100%. I think the plaintiffs are going to sue them no matter. If they cut a deal with them or not, they're still going to sue them.
That's not true. If the plaintiffs if they negotiate with the city and they get what they want, they'll drop. It'll be a contingent on dropping the
And
lawsuit.
somebody else will sue them over something else.
I do not think that's reality.
You really don't think so?
I do not think that would be the case.
That I'll take a bet on.
The 9 plaintiffs that
I will take a bet on
the
that.
The 9 plaintiffs that are suing the city right now are out substantial amount of money.
I will take a bet. No matter what gets approved, somebody's going to sue it.
The 9 plaintiffs that are suing the city are using their personal finances.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
To sue the city they live in.
I get it. 100%.
They are catching heat from activists. They are being doxxed online, including their addresses positioned and published online.
Yeah, that's
and
not
they
cool.
are out tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. They can negotiate it. They can go through, but somebody's going to file suit against it. I can assure you that. But let's assume, for the argument's sake, they negotiate, they get what they want, the plaintiffs, good for them. It gets fast-tracked. Let's say magically the new ordinance are approved January 1, just to pick a date on it. You don't think anybody's going to sue them as of January 1?
I think the 9 plaintiffs, if
Not
the
the 9
city
plaintiffs, I'm saying
negotiates
somebody.
with them,
I'm saying somebody.
hard to say.
Yeah.
I will say this, that there's only 9 people in a city of 50,000 that chose to sue.
Sure.
9.
Sure.
In a city of 50,000 that chose to sue.
Agree. Well, I think the likelihood of somebody suing them for that is pretty high.
Whoever chooses to sue the city must realize that this is probably going to take, the opportunity cost of that is going to take, years of their lives and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And
there's not a lot of people out there that are willing to do that.
So let's paint this a different way. Let's say, my hope is that they actually engage, they meaning the city, engages with the plaintiffs and get this done. But let's assume the city says, you know what, bleep you, we're running this through the process, we don't really care, we're going to adopt something new, and we're going to adopt it by December. And the plaintiffs still continue their lawsuit. The problem is now a new zoning is adopted, it's a whole new lawsuit, and it has to continue along for 2 years. To my point is if they fix the back end, then the 2 years it takes to go through.
But Keith, they've shown no indication they're going to fix the back end.
Yeah, that's a shame. As a housing advocate, that is...
they've shown no...
No, I
They can't keep consistency with staff.
I
It's been a
love-
turnstile with the city attorney position, turnstile at neighborhood development services, turnstile with the lieutenants, turnstile with the city manager.
I love pushing back with you, but I can't push back that one.
How are they going to fix the back end?
Well, how they fix the back end is the city councilors have to engage with staff and say, I need you to fix this back end. Because if you remember, they got the zoning approved, and then they waited until August of the next year to go through how we're going to implement this. If they're not doing that concurrently, then we've just spent an hour talking about nothing, because it's going to be a whole lot of nothing, and we're going to be exactly where we're at. There's going to be no clear direction, and if people want affordable housing or housing affordability in the city of Charlottesville, look, I'm
Alice, welcome to the show.
I'm an advocate of it. I'm going to continue to push, and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm not going to do it in an activist format, but I'm going to do it in an advocate format. But realistically, the developers and builders are doing what they do. They're moving to different jurisdictions. They're moving to places that it works, that jurisdictions are saying, hey, we understand the direct, indirect, and induced impact housing brings on the community. You got to fix A and B and C for us. You got to change our water and sewer. You got to fix our roads and yada, yada, yada. But we get it that it works. And that's where they're going to go. And Greene County's in a prime example of it, right? And, you're going to see that. So I think we just spent an hour talking about something that at the end of the day, it's just going to be a hot mess for a long time.
100%.
Hot mess for a long time.
And what's not emphasized in this hour is the impact that does with the confidence of developers. I've had multiple developers, like I'm talking the most significant.
Yeah.
I'll use accurate wording here without saying who it is.
Key players.
Some of the most significant property owners in Charlottesville City that said they will not do a single thing in the city anymore.
100%. That was there kind of before this anyway. It now just exploded, right? Because again, some of these
Neil Williamson agrees. The money is moving completely away from Charlottesville to where development is more certain.
And we're done. And oh, by the way, all you got to do is look. We did this on a data show, right? All we got to do is look at the data. There's like the city is just like standing still.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to stand still. And everything outside of the jurisdictions, they're going to grow. They're going to benefit from it. And we're going to be having this conversation a year from now or 2 years from now. But they haven't. They meaning city council, if they chose to do it, is to get. They have a choice to get this right. Engage, fix what's broken. Fix what's broken on the housing affordability side on it. Fix the red tape into green tape. Engage the public in it. They have the ability to do this right now. That's why I'm saying this may not be a bad thing if the city steps into it and takes it. But if you're right and Neil is right, which I will take that on as gospel, they're just trying to ram through an already problematic zoning ordinance.
Of course,
just to hit a reset button.
Yeah.
If that happens, I'll be extreme. Not that it
That's
matters.
happening.
Yeah. But if it actually gets there, because there's a lot of process that has to go through, and it's going to be very public and very open.
Well, this is the process. If the judge reconsiders the default,
we both know that's not going to happen.
but that's what the city's asking for.
Yeah, but it's not.
If the judge reconsiders the default judgment, and there's past precedent that the city is using for the judge to reconsider the default judgment. If he does, then it's the same new zoning ordinance that they're going to push through.
Yeah. The judge is not going to reconsider. He dodged the bullet. He's going, whew, I don't have to make it. I don't give a what he said. He dodged.
The judge indicated before the default judgment saying it would have been interesting to see what plays out here.
And that and 50 cents, that and $5 buys you a cup of coffee. It don't mean anything.
But devil's advocate with you, if you think he dodged a bullet, he could have just recused himself from the beginning.
Yeah,
from presiding over the case.
That's a whole different animal.
But he chose not to.
He dodged a bullet. He doesn't have to make a decision. You don't have to make a decision.
Well, agree to disagree on that one. I think the judge wanted to make a decision. He didn't have to. Arlington, was it 3 judges that lived in Arlington? It was 3?
Yeah.
3 judges in Arlington that said, we live in Arlington.
I gotta recuse myself.
We have to recuse ourselves.
Yeah, I agree.
This judge, they pointed out that he lives in the city, and he says, so what? I'm going to be the guy who makes the decision. And then he even had to answer about his wife.
So, again.
And said she's entitled to an opinion.
Again, I think he should have recused himself, but he didn't. He made a non-decision, right? The lawyer handed him a gift on a silver platter. It got thrown out. I'm doing the zoning. Caused all this problem. If he really, really was engaged, how come he hasn't given a written order yet?
Because he's taken. Did you see how long he's taken to do anything with this case?
Well, he gave the order at the bench. All he has to do is regurgitate the literal order he gave at the bench in writing and hand it to them. He gave a bench order. Why hasn't that happened? He dodged a bullet, brother. If I was him, I'd be going, phew, somebody else has got to deal with this now.
We're gonna find out. Comments, a lot of comments here. Vanessa Parkhill, if our local leaders were being thoughtful about housing affordability, they would stop ratcheting up our property taxes. I recently got a letter that my mortgage was going up over $200 a month due to escrow needs, $200 a month. The taxes and insurance are now a larger portion of the payment than principal and interest. Middle-class Gen X and boomers are getting crushed.
100%.
I think a lot of people's escrow, Vanessa, is going up, unfortunately.
I know in my county, I'm paying the same if I was living in Albemarle County, paying literally the same amount of cash now.
This is a bananas time to be in housing. In Charlottesville, now we're on Central Virginia.
Like I said, I'll just keep on saying the city has an opportunity now to get this right. If it chooses to do it or not, it's a different story. But it has an opportunity if they truly profess to tackle housing affordability and make that our number one priority. They have an opportunity to do it now. But they got to show up to the fight.
Cully Baggett watching the program. He's a builder and a developer in Green. He says, even if you battle your way through the zoning restrictions, then you have to deal with the city inspections department, which is a whole other can of rotten worms in a circus.
Brother.
I charge an additional 20% to work inside the city, and generally, I just professionally decline to do work in Charlottesville.
There you go. You could not have put a finer point on it. 2019, the land trust built 4 units on Nassau Street. I still can't get my $18,000 back from my bond for the water and sewer tap because I can't. Possible? It's because it just goes in circles. It goes in circles. 20%. I think he's cutting himself short with 20%. I think that number should be way higher than that. The answer is, but thank you, but no thank you. I'm busy in Greene County in it. But the city of Charlottesville.
Angela Moberly says it's not just Charlottesville. Keith,
yeah,
we are over 2 years into our by right multi-unit housing project in Culpeper County.
Yeah,
we just finally got our permit approved.
Yeah, that's just wrong. That is just wrong.
More than 2 years.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be unsympathetic on that. I'd like to be a good human. But 2 years is actually pretty good, right? Right? A by right project in Greene County, we're at 2 years. And we're not even halfway through the site plan process yet. Yeah, look, I tell this story all the time. The very first subdivision I built at the Acres, by the time I put a contract in it, rezoned it, and this is Central Water and Sewer, VDOT roads, yada, 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 for 150 lots. By the time I put a contract on it, closed on it, rezoned it, got my site plan and put a bulldozer on it, took me 6 months. It is now 6 years or more to go through something like that, if you even get that far. And you want to talk about housing affordability? Guess where all that cost goes to?
Oh, yeah. Just pass down.
That 2 years is only that cost, the carry cost, right? Because I'm sure they own the land. All the site plan work and stuff like that, which I guarantee you, they're probably $500,000 to $1 million worth of just the engineering end of it. Bonds, application fees, legal fees, creating covenants and restrictions, doing phase 1 environmental, phase 2 environmental, yada, 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 just kind of going all the way through that, is in the gazillion dollar range, and it all goes to the price of the house, because that number just gets condensed down and go, okay. And so when people say, well, how come builders and developers can't build affordable houses any longer? That's the reason why. And that's why I keep on going to this red tape, green tape, red tape, and green tape. I guarantee you, if she answers this, it's probably either a by right subdivision that she's doing, or it just got rezoned, and that's just the site plan process. Because once it gets rezoned, it's by right, right? It's either straight up a by right, or it's got rezoned. It's been taking them 2 years to get through. Don't get me started on connection fees.
You were on point today.
Well,
This is a great topic for the
I was
show.
trying to be a good human today.
You were a good human.
I can't tell you how much this made my day yesterday. It was.
This is a great show.
Yeah.
Master class in zoning.
Nah, I don't know about that, but it has an opportunity to fix it. If they choose to take that opportunity, now it's a very different story, and it's the reason I won't make a bet with it, because I think they won't choose to do that.
I don't think they're going to choose to do that.
I cannot. Unfortunately, I want to disagree with you, but I can't. I don't. It's a great opportunity, man. It is.
Someone. Maybe this is something the land trust can do. Maybe this is something that is, maybe it's Chamber of Commerce. I don't know who would do this. Maybe this is CAR. Maybe this is the Charlottesville Area Association Realtors. Someone should get, and Angela says, no rezone. It was by right when we purchased it. DEQ, Army Corps, town, etc.
Thank you for the DEQ. I completely forgot all about that. Just to go through, and it depends on her jurisdiction. If her jurisdiction, I'm not familiar with Culpeper, but if the jurisdiction has an in-house erosion and control people, it tends to go a little bit faster. If they have to actually outsource it to the state at DEQ, I'll tell you a quick story about that. I helped Lake Monticello Fire Department rebuild it needed to grow, right? It was its facility. So I helped to actually double its physical structure, plus acquire some land and go through the development thing. We were 1/10 over 1 acre, and it got kicked. The erosion control got kicked to the state, to the DEQ. It took me, and this was for a firehouse for life safety, it took me 18 months to get the DEQ permit because I couldn't get the site plan.
That's insane.
Just to be a little bit less than an acre. I just physically couldn't do it. And what it took is I put my suit and tie up and went to Richmond, sat in the actual approver's office, and I said, sir, I'm going to sit in your place, but I'm not leaving until I get a reason why this has taken 18 months to get it approved.
Whether this is CAR, the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors, whether this is the Chamber of Commerce, maybe it's Neil Williamson, the president of the Free Enterprise Forum, someone should get a very accurate estimate of the impact that this zoning debacle is having on our economy. According to Hall Spencer's reporting in the Daily Progress, and he quoted Mr. Matthews, the head of the Mitchell Matthews Architects and Planning firm, John Matthews, he estimates that this zoning debacle has a $390 million development impact on the city, not including the supply chain of people that will be working on these projects. I would like to know an actual number, the 390 plus the supply chain, all the tradespeople, all the white-collar professionals that would be working on this project, what the total economic impact is on this zoning debacle.
So Weldon Cooper could do that.
Weldon Cooper, okay.
But somebody's got to pay him.
Yep, I would love to know that number. And then that number should be presented to Charlottesville City Manager Sam Sanders and City Council and say, this is the impact that you are having on the economy in Charlottesville.
So I'm in the middle of trying to raise funds through the Regional Housing Partnership to hire Weldon Cooper to do, this is going to be regional, it's not going to be the city, but to do a direct, indirect, and induced study on housing, on the impact on housing in the region and each individual jurisdictions. this is a substantial amount of money. I mean, it's got a six figures kind of cost to it.
The fundraising.
And take some time to do that. But that's in my opinion, an independent third party. This is what they do. And Neil can help me out. There's another entity within Virginia Tech that does the same thing. But they can take a look at it because they have direct access. They got the statisticians. They can put everything together and come in and say, okay, new housing this is your direct, indirect, and induced all together, and this is how this works. There was, and somebody can Google it, Virginia Housing did one in 2011. So it hasn't been done in our region since 2011. And the reason that was done in 2011 is we had a oops happen, and everybody was sucking wind, and all the jurisdictions were losing money because the foreclosure rate was off the charts. And it just was becoming, this little bit upside down. And Virginia Housing said, okay, well, let's take a look at what it actually brings into the local economies. So I'm actually working on it. The problem is
you need some money.
Yeah, and that's going to be in today's environment.
Very tough to do.
Finding six figures is going to be hard.
Keith Smith on point. The show archived at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. The elected officials that watch the program watch it from start to finish. You can find it at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com.
Go out and be kind to somebody today. Somebody you don't know. Just be kind.
Judah Wickhauer behind the camera. My name is Jerry Miller. For Real Talk with Keith Smith, thank you kindly for joining us. The I Love CVille show is up at 12:30 p.m. So long.
Thanks, everybody.
Fantastic work.
Oh, I love